Okay, so in this section, we're going to convert our core data adding game app or math game app into a SwiftData app. So I'm in the Finder at my adding game, and I'm going to duplicate this. So duplicate, because I want to preserve my previous core data code. And instead of the word copy, let's call this adding game Swift data. And the next thing I want to do is go to Xcode, open this up, and see if it still actually works, which it should, but you never know. So let's open existing project, and I see the adding game Swift data over here. And let's open it up, and let's run the app. And it seems to be working okay. We have a bunch of high scores. And actually, I'd like to delete the game. Let's start from scratch. This over here, press, remove app, delete, and now if we run it again, we won't have any high scores. Right, there's nothing here. Okay, great. So this is our starting point. Now we want to use SwiftData, which is part of iOS 17. Just as a comment, currently I'm on Xcode 15 Beta 8. I'll update this, of course. So first of all, let's go to the main project folder, to the adding game. And this is on iOS 17, so it's already updated, but that's very important, so that we're good in that respect. Next, let's go to the model folder. And we have the high scores data model. And we're going to get rid of this file. So if you recall, we had something called high score entity. And now I'm going to create a file called high score entity, which will pretty much replace this. So let's press Command N, Swift file, high score entity. We can change it later to high score model, but it's kind of good that we're using the same name at the moment. And we want to first of all import SwiftData. And I would like to split our screen so we can see what high score entity is. So let's split our screen. And I'm going to click on high scores data model. And I see we have a name and a score. Okay. So let's start with struct. This is already wrong. Okay. High score entity conforms to identifiable. That's fine. Let ID equal to unique user ID. This is good because we're going to iterate over this in a list. And let's have a variable called name. And let's use a let constant score. I don't want to change the score ever. Like once you get a score, that's it. It cannot be changed. So your name might appear in the high score list and you got a score of whatever. I will allow you, or we will allow the user to change the name, but we will not allow the user to change the score. Now this setup does not work for SwiftData. SwiftData actually works with classes, and we need to add this new macro at model. And we need an initializer. So that's very simple. We just go down here and use the default initializer. And we have an invalid redeclaration of high score entity. So the next thing we're going to do is go to high scores data model and just delete the file. And now our code just is not going to work. We're going to have a lot of issues, but in the end, things will be quite simple. Okay, so something is ambiguous over here. Right, a lot of issues. At some point, we'll completely do away with the view model, although we will use code from our view model. Okay, so let's take a break now because we have a lot of work to do. And it's like several gentle changes to our code, but I'd like us to take things slowly, okay? So in the end, we're going to completely remove our high score view model. Okay, so we'll see that in the next lectures. So have an amazing day and see you next time.